Hidden in the pages of old stained cookbooks are clever, scrappy secrets that transformed bland ingredients into unforgettable meals. These vintage recipes were passed down quietly, sometimes scribbled in the margins, sometimes whispered between neighbors. And while some of these old cookbook hacks might seem odd today, they helped generations survive, thrive, and stretch every dollar. Let's take a peek at the forgotten recipes that once ruled the kitchen. Egg drop soup was Depression-era comfort food at its finest. Just broth and eggs whisked straight into the pot. It was warm, simple, and soothing, just like the kind your grandma would stir while humming at the stove. Stone soup wasn't just a bedtime story. It was survival in a pot. Depression-era meals like this turned scraps into sustenance, proving that even a bare pantry could feed a family. It was less about the ingredients and more about community, hope, and a little imagination. Potato peel soup was born out of wartime wisdom. Those potato skins you toss? Back then, they were the main ingredient. If you ever helped peel potatoes in Grandma's kitchen, this one might sound familiar. Mock duck came straight from the dirty tricks section of your grandmother's recipe stash. Ground beef, shaped like a roast, seasoned like Sunday dinner. It looked fancy, but cost next to nothing. Porcupine meatballs were the original budget meal trick. Rice mixed into meat made it stretch farther, while the little grains stuck out like quills, turning leftovers into something kids actually loved. Chicken a la king transformed dry leftovers into a creamy, rich dinner served over toast. It made Tuesday night taste like a holiday. You probably saw this bubbling in a Pyrex dish on more than one family table. Hot dog casserole with potato chips was a classic comfort food and a kid favorite. Crunch on top, canned chaos inside. Somehow it worked. It's the kind of dish you'd eat in front of the TV during a 1970s family night. Grilled cheese didn't need extras. Bread, butter, cheese, bubbled to golden perfection. It wasn't gourmet, but it was exactly what you'd get after coming home from school, tired and hungry. Salmon patties with cream peas turned a dusty can of fish into a diner-style dinner. Crispy edges, creamy sauce, pure comfort with that vintage twist. Velveeta fudge was the wild card. Yes, processed cheese met cocoa. It was one of those forgotten recipes you didn't ask questions about. You just ate and smiled. Love discovering vintage food tricks? Hit that like button and subscribe for more forgotten gems from Grandma's cookbook. Green tomato pie wasn't a dessert. It was a Depression-era prank on your taste buds. Tart tomatoes baked in cinnamon and sugar. It looked like apple pie and fooled nearly everyone. Chicken pot pie was the flaky crust secret to kitchen happiness. Creamy, hearty, golden brown. It made the whole house smell like Sunday. Chicken and dumplings brought big flavor from scraps. Boiled chicken, hand-shaped dumplings, and rich broth. A warm hug in a bowl every time. Home-style lamb casserole was winter's solution to an empty fridge. Root veggies, rosemary, and patience. A classic retro recipe made to be shared. Lamb shank and barley soup was rugged, old-world comfort. Brothy, chewy, hearty. It tasted like surviving a storm, then telling the story. Braised skirt steak proved that humble cuts could taste like luxury. Cooked low and slow, this budget-friendly dish melted in your mouth and left nothing behind. Lobster Newburg was vintage luxury. Lobster in creamy cherry brandy sauce. Once a staple of high-end diners, now nearly forgotten. Beef Wellington wrapped a roast in puff pastry and turned it into an event. Fancy, flaky, and a favorite at 1970s dinner parties, fondue bourguignon made hot oil social. You dipped steak on a skewer while sharing laughs around the table. It wasn't just dinner, it was a memory. Quiche Lorraine was smoky bacon, creamy custard, and a flaky crust. A brunch table legend in every 1950s kitchen from coast to coast. Rumaki was tiki bar kitchen at its best. Bacon-wrapped chicken liver and water chestnuts. Odd, bold, unforgettable. Cherry cola pulled pork was bold, sticky, and undeniably retro. It brought soda into the slow cooker, turning sweetness into serious flavor. Mock turtle soup was a weirdly rich twist on history. Made from beef? Not turtle. It was a nod to Britain and a staple in 1940s American homes. Chicken marbella danced between prunes and olives, sweet, briny, and straight from the 1980s cookbook craze. Liver and onions divided the table. You either loved it or you left the room. But back then, nutrition and flavor walked hand in hand. These forgotten recipes show us that our grandparents knew more than we gave them credit for. From scraps to stars, they worked magic with what they had and made meals that mattered. Which of these do you remember? Drop it in the comments. We read every one.